few seconds sooner, there would have been something entertaining to see, but I didn't. Oh, I had it the wrong fucking way.
One, right? You've done a fantastic job, and many of the members of the House and Senate are with us. Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed our trade barriers.
This is new, by the way.
Other countries, while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous non-monetary barriers to decimate our industries, and in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated their currencies, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant VAT taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and technical standards, and created filthy pollution havens. They were absolutely filthy, but they always came to us and they said, we're violating, we should pay for it. It's all detailed in a very big report by the U.S. Trade Representative on Foreign Trade Barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay too much. As I understand it, you'll pay nothing. It's a lot of work for something, actually, because it's a special book. It's frankly, it's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever.
Sounds like an interesting
But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks our workers have faced for so many years. The United States charges other countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 60%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 75%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until today, the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff. Think of that, 2.5% on foreign-made automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% VATs, much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations. As a result of these colossal trade barriers, 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in South Korea. 94% of the cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million foreign-made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost none. Ford sells very little. None of our companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that, friend and foe. And in many cases, the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles. Thank you. Brian, I'd like to have you come up here for a second, okay? I just see him sitting. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please, would you? Thank you. It's a great honor to have you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the home of the Reagan Democrats. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald J. Trump came along. I have watched my entire life, I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the Metro Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized, and Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product back into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investment. There's going to be new plants built. And the UAW members, and I brought 20 of them with me, they're sitting right over here. We support Donald Trump's policies on tariffs 100%. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. And in 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait to see what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you, Mr. President.
I agree.
What a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it
first
before
16,
almost anybody
6 months
else.
to a year ain't gonna
over
be
there,
good,
they
but
got
after
it too.
that, you'll see.
And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot, and I want to just thank you all. The auto workers were fantastic. The Teamsters were fantastic. Everyone was pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon, and you probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. See it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You're seeing it. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. With today's actions, we're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized by nations all over the world. Brutalized. Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do the first little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that it gets bad, and then it gets up to 275, 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they say, oh, about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road. When you look a little bit, it's not a pretty picture, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with countries like Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say, you got to work for yourselves, and you got to, this is why we have the big deficits. This is why we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years, and we're really not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American poultry. You understand? They say, we want to send you our cars, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that you have. Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful everything, but they ban American beef, yet we imported $3 billion of Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect their farmers. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting about midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquota, it's called, a tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%. Actually, they charge different, from 50% to 513%. And Japan, our friend, charges us 700%. But that's because they don't want us selling rice and other things. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture, great job you did on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. You got them down 50%. Once we got involved, they were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through the sky, and you did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper, down about 59% now, and they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for. If imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poor, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first on line. They run a very strong country, but they're not first in line, and the American people are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay, and then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer. But we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first, and I'm sorry to say that. And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first. In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting tax on. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. And I said, is that possible? We had to check 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries. A single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that. And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you get ripped off for your salaries. My auto worker friends and my teacher friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. It's what happens.
Biden sucks dick.
But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and
Taxes
have
out
been
there
charging
instead,
us.
too.
So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries who didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it up, Howard? This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard. So, if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So, 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here, we didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less, so how can anybody be upset?
Sounds fair.
They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but narrators. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly, they rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan, they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it. Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough. Great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose. Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, you know, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China, charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs, and they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand, and the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe, but they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it.
It was a funny one you just missed.
Hey, future,
Last one was real funny. I've been laughing during the last one. It was really
So,
good.
if you go up,
This one was good.
we will
This one
travel
was
through
good.
time until we find the part of human history where we can score.
Welcome to the West Texas Nature Preserve. Okay, so before we get started, interesting fact, we're just a few hundred feet away from the New Mexico border, which is in the Mountain Time Zone. So if you go up the road just a bit, it's an hour earlier. Whoa.
So we can, travel through time?
Well, no, that's not how it works. It's just a different time zone.
Whoa. Did you hear that, Beavis? He said we can travel. What do you want to do here in the future?
Let's go in there and get a hot dog.
I'm not hungry yet.
And let's go another hour in the future when it's lunchtime.
Oh, yeah, good idea. You're cool.
Just go around here. There we go.
That's better. Yeah, now I'm starving. I think.
This hot dog is full of things not known to our time.
Damn it.
Don't worry, Beavis. We can just, go back in time an hour to before it got the germs on it.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
There we go.
It's amazing no one else has thought of this.
Most people are stupid, Beavis. It's a fact.
Yeah, that's better. No germs.
Hey, you gotta pay for those.
Sir, don't worry. In the future, we will get some money. And then we will go back in time and pay for this an hour ago. Remember?
Did you turn from this lane too?
Boy, for a guy in the future, he doesn't understand time travel.
Yeah, I thought people in the future were supposed to be smart. Jesus.
Let's go to the future and see if future chicks have, loosened up any about wanting to score.
Fucking potholes, man. God damn.
I'm gonna go backwards, so I don't go too far into the future. I don't want to get, beaten by a robot or something.
Good thinking, Beavis.
Damn it! I think I broke my arm on that fell.
Nothing to worry about, Beavis. Let's just go back an hour to before you broke it.
I think it feels better or something.
Whoa, check it out, Beavis. Future chicks.
I can drive until we get to Midland if you want.
Hey, future baby. We're from a bygone era.
We would like to score with you in the future.
Oh my god, what happened to your arm?
Oh, I'm gonna break it later. It's really gonna hurt in an hour. I gotta sit down here.
Damn it, Beavis, you're messing up my game. Let's go back in time an hour and do this again. And don't screw it up this time.
Okay.
Now this time let me talking stuff.
Hey, thanks for the coffee, hon.
Now what do we do, butthead? Like we went too far back in time to when they had boyfriends or something.
Beavis, mark my word. We will travel through time until we find the part of human history where we can score.
Oh, yeah.
Could we use your house to trial our 24-hour bathroom upgrade system? We're looking for homeowners within valid states to test our new 24-hour bathroom remodel service. Professional contractors will
Obey me! Okay. Do you have any matches?
Nope.
How about lighter?
Nope.
Because it says you have fire wings.
Get out of here, kid.
Have a look. Oh, fire!
Yeah.
Fire! Fire! Fire!
Hello, Beavis. I've been waiting for you. I am fire.
Whoa! You're fire! Yeah. You're like, shit!
I have great power, yes.
Wait a minute. So, like, you can talk?
I've always been able to talk to you, Beavis. Remember? Beavis, it is I, fire! Look upon my fearful glory!
Fire. Fire? Do you remember when I put an M80 in Mr. Anderson's mailbox and it started a big fire?
Yes, that was me.
Remember when I found my first lighter and it was like fire?
I remember. I am fire.
You ever been in a volcano?
I am in all the volcanoes.
What about that forest fire?
That was a great day.
Smokey the Bear sucks.
It's not his fault. I killed his parents. He's just trying to mend the hole in his heart that I put there.
You're cool.
Quite. You, Beavis, are my special one.
Fire!
Fire! Now, Beavis, listen to me. I am going to command you, and you
Beavis, the bull was the whole reason I came up here. Now get down there and get it.
I don't know, buddy. It's kind of scary to try to... How are we gonna get down, Butthead?
Get down. Someone's got to put the ladder back up. So, Beavis, you're gonna have to jump off the roof.
I don't know, Butthead. We're kind of really far off the ground. And
I don't care.
maybe you could jump?
Okay, I've got an idea, Beavis. If you take, like, a running start, you can jump into that tree and climb down.
That looks kind of far of it.
You can do it, Beavis. I believe in you. So hurry up, nutsack.
Well, oh boy. I guess I could give it a try. I don't know, Butthead.
Run as fast as you can, Beavis.
Okay, here goes. Don't look down yet.
Ooh, there we go.
Bingo. Let's kill him with this. I'll pretend I'm gonna measure how tall he is, and then you sneak up behind him, and I'm like, that's 2 feet tall, sir. And meanwhile, you've got another one of these that's metric, see? Ah!
Shut up, Beavis. Look what happened to that mouse. And he's got a big can of glue. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Oh, yeah. We'll just sniff some glue and forget about the bears.
You're a dumb Beavis.
Oh, yeah.
Glue is cool.
Butthead, you've got that trap stuck.
Beavis, don't tell me how to do my job.
Yeah, but Butthead, you got a thing
Beavis,
under,
if I wanted your opinion, I'd tell it to you. And now, the bait. Get this here. This is gonna be cool.